Hey, good evening. American Night here. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. I got back from Florida yesterday. Yesterday morning, I was down there for a few days visiting my youngest daughter. She's 14, and we went off, spent a good bit of money on this trip. And I'm telling you, my bank account's hurting right now. I'm, well, I had planned for the trip and all, the finances revolt regarding that, and I made it back home from Florida. But then yesterday evening, I was out driving around, and unfortunately, I hit something in the road. Car in front of me. I was probably following a little too closely. The car in front of me swerves out of the way just at the last second, and I didn't have enough time to avoid. There was a road hazard. There was something there in the road, a piece of metal or something, and went over it with my car, and it immediately flattened my driver's side front tire. So I spent the morning getting that taken care of. That was another $400, that I wasn't really planning on spending. So yeah. Fortunately, I was able to cover it, but it's like it takes a chunk out of, when you're not really planning on that, it's like, oh boy. But this is another lesson of why I need to keep really work on building up my emergency savings. I keep trying to, and it's just there's always things coming at me. My ex-wife just messaged me a little bit ago asking if I was going to pay for Piper's my youngest daughter's uh annual pass for Disney World, about $1,000, and it's just so it's just never ending, right? I told her, well, I have done it for the last several years, and I should get a bonus in July, and I can take care of it then. But it's just I was kind of that bonus. I kind of had, I was kind of earmarking it for for a few other savings goals, right? Now that's claimed. I mean, it's my daughter. One thing I'm kind of concerned about, and I'm not sure. My youngest daughter, she's homeschooled, so she's they. Long story, just to kind of sum it up a little bit. She was going to public school. There was a student in her school made a threat, and after that, her mother just against the school, even not against my daughter personally, but against the school. I guess was threatening to shoot up the school or whatever, and after that, her mom said, that she's just gonna homeschool her and just get her out of these public schools because you guys know a lot of the problems of the public schools these days. Um, so my youngest daughter is homeschooled, and she's 14. She'll be 15 in December. I worry about her a little bit because I'm about her development and everything. I feel like she's still a little bit childlike. I don't want to say childish. I want to say childlike. And I think some of that is just not getting enough time around her peers. And I made some suggestions, for things that she could go and do with people her age, and I don't know if they'll listen to me or not, but I'm just a little concerned about it. She's in a I do There are things I feel good about. She lives in a good neighborhood, good safe neighborhood outside the city there. Um, I think her mom does do a pretty good job um raising her and all. It's just a couple little things, really. Of all the things I could be concerned about, that's kind of a minor one, but it's something that I've noticed for a while. And it's like, I mean, with this whole Disney thing, it's like, she's not a kid anymore, but it's like I think my ex-wife enjoys going more, almost as much as my daughter does. So, so, but I'm I tell you, we're all trying to do everything we can to improve our lot in life, right? Um, I'm just starting to think maybe I need to reassess some of my priorities, and I don't know. I like my job, and I make decent money, but it just everything has just gotten so expensive. It's just like, and I'll get these annual cost of living adjustments, not really raises, just cost of living adjustments, typically 3% or so, which the last few years, inflation's just kicking our butts, and it's just, the funny thing is I paid off debt. I paid off some bills. I actually got some of my credit cards paid off, that sort of thing. And I feel like I'm just as tight as I was before I paid those off. It's like, I mean, it's just everything's gotten so expensive. My mortgage payment went up, about $75 a month because of the escrow. Food costs, gas is more expensive. Everything's gone up. Um, I voted for Trump. I did. Um, the people that voted for Trump did so for a few reasons. One of the biggest reasons we voted for Trump was to stop to get out of all these wars. And I mean, if we were attacked, it'd be one thing. If the United States had gotten attacked or something had happened, he's going to say, well, is it going to take a nuclear? I, I don't know. They know more about Iran's progress in terms of developing nuclear weapons than I do. So, but would they be stupid enough to do that? It's like, would they be stupid enough to launch a nuclear weapon in the United States? I mean, because knowing that it full well that means they're going to be obliterated. Um, I don't know. Some of these religious, crazies are about that nuts, but who knows? But anyway, it's really wreaking havoc in the country right now with these higher gas prices. Um, Everybody's hurting. Trump doesn't seem too overly concerned about it, and I think that's going to come and bite them in the butt in November. I don't think the Republicans are going to do very well in November. I hate it because I'm not a big fan of the Democrats either. For Democrats, if they would just focus solely on their economic message and avoid a lot of the other crap that they talk about, they would do so much better, I think. I think the Democratic Party would do a lot better if they just stayed focused on that one message, their economic policies. It's just when they get into all the weirdo crap that it's just hard to take them seriously or to really consider them. It's almost like an automatic disqualifier with some of the policies on that side. I think more than anything, I'm feeling like we need more options. Just having two main political parties is just not enough anymore. I think we need probably four political parties in this country at least. We probably need a center right, center left, then a left and a right. Something along those lines. I just feel like American people are not getting what we want from either party. I don't right now. I feel frustrated with both of them. I mean, the Democrats. I mean, it's just since about 2008 or so with Obama. Clinton wasn't great, but I felt like he was all right in a lot of ways. I wasn't really as actively paying attention to politics during the Clinton administration as I am now, but I remember I was living abroad. I was living in Spain during Clinton's term, and it seemed like things were going pretty good for the U.S. during that time. Of course, you did have the tech boom and all of that arose, coming into the early '90s. Microsoft and all of that started hitting the world stage and really revolutionized everything, and that benefited the U.S. economy, insane amount, right? So, but then the Obama years, some people really liked Obama. There were a couple of things that I think Obama did okay with. I mean, I would point to them going in and getting Osama bin Laden. I thought that was a great achievement for the Obama administration. I think every American that night was clapping, so everybody was pretty happy that night. Um, but there a lot of the weirdo stuff, and also a lot of the open border stuff, they have gone out of their way bringing people into the country, not just allowing people to come. They have gone out and actually brought in people into this country, and it's like there's immigrants that you meet here in the United States, and it's like, how did they get here? It's like last night, after having my car issue, I had to get an Uber, and the driver was from West Africa. And he seemed like a nice guy that, didn't have any issues with him. He was from Senegal, and he spoke French. They speak French there. And he said he'd been in the country for a couple of years, so he came in under Biden when Biden was president. And I'm just like, how did he get here? It's like, I mean, like, really? I guess I don't know. It's like, I just don't know. And I mean, he's working here as an Uber driver. And I'm like, there's no way that he can support himself. I mean, on Uber, I wouldn't think, without some other government assistance. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, this guy's probably getting government aid in order to live, because there's, trying to live on Uber money as a full-time source of income. I y'all know what the rent prices are these days, right? Rent and food and everything else, gas that he's putting in that car if he's doing that full time. I'm just like, he has to be getting some government assistance somewhere. And I'm just like, that's not what we need. We need we do need legal immigration, but we need immigrants that are coming, that are going to be, a boost to our society, that are going to be adding to it. We have people from India that have been really highly trained as either doctors or engineers or computer people, and that's the kind of people I think we need to be bringing in terms of immigrant labor. It's like, we do need an element of immigrant labor to work on, in agriculture, and we do have a need for that labor. But it's just, we can't keep having these flood the zone, which is what Democrats seem to be doing, is just trying to flood our country, not just the United States, but look at Europe too. They had a big protest in England over the week, a couple days ago, and it's just about all these migrants that are flooding their countries, and it's changing the whole feel of these countries. And I hate seeing Europe change that way. It's like, I mean, I don't really. The United States is big enough where I feel like we can kind of absorb a good part of it, especially since a lot of these people stay in the cities. But at Europe, they're just getting completely overwhelmed, I feel like. I mean, Italy is not going to be Italy anymore. Spain is not going to be Spain anymore. France is not going to be France anymore. England's not, and huge parts of England have already undergone this change where it's just not England anymore. I don't like that. I like these countries kind of maintaining their original character, right? Anyway, it is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, just have to kind of work around it, I guess. I don't know. I keep thinking about my personal finances. I've been thinking about it a lot today, and I'm just like, for as much work as I do, and for as much as I do in terms of working, I just feel like I'm progress towards my goals is going really slow, and the time is going by really fast. And it's like I'm just not, I don't know. Maybe I need to go through my expenses, but the thing is, most of my expenses, it's like they kind of are what they are. There's not a lot of fat to cut. There's not really a lot of extra things that I'm spending money on. It's like I have a mortgage with homeowners association dues each month. I have a car payment, which, yeah, that's that's almost $500 a month. I probably could have gotten a cheaper car, but it's just you get you go too much lower, it's like then you're worried about it breaking down on you all the time and all that. But um got my utilities, food, gas. I do pay child support, so that's a big chunk too. Um, my youngest is going into high school this fall, so I've only got a few more years of that. But you know how it is with kids. She'll be starting college after that, and I'm trying to put money into a 529 account to build some funds for her, but it's just difficult. It's all these extra things. It's like I need to save for retirement. I need to save for my kids' college. I need to do this. And it's just the money just does not stretch that far. So the money is just not stretching far enough. So I don't know. It's like I keep thinking that maybe I need to find, look around for another higher paying job, but I don't know if I could. I don't know. Right now is a bad time to be looking, and it's just I don't know. I don't know what to think. It's like I feel like if I made an extra like 20,000 a year, I'd be straight. Even 10,000 a year, I think I'd be straight. I'd be okay with my full time job. But it's just I don't know. It's getting tough out here, you guys. We've got to. I don't know. We gotta make some things happen. I've got to get my. I feel like my shoulders are on the mat, and I gotta get up off the mat, and just get back to it. But it shouldn't be this hard. It's like I mean, I'm not asking for like fancy cars or a big, 4,000 square foot house or anything like that. I've got, I'm content with my 1,700 square foot house and my $25,000 car. It's like I'm content with that, and it's still a struggle, and it's just like, and I know these are first world problems, and I've thought about that too. It's like I've thought about, here in the United States, we've had it so good for so long that I think maybe the economics are starting to kind of globally moderate a little bit, where it's going to kind of even out a little bit. We've had a much better way of quality of life, at least in terms of money and income, than people in Europe and people in other places in the world. And we've had that advantage for a long time, and I think maybe that advantage is starting to slip away, and we're going to be more at a more global median. Anyway, I don't know. Sometimes I think that might be why we're starting to see all this war talk and everything, and all these efforts to try to do things in terms of our war, because one of the outcomes of war a lot of times is that the winners do benefit financially from it, but it's not a great plan either. So anyway, I'm gonna try to get my life going a little bit better here. I feel like it's just me, you know. I don't have a wife that's working or anything like that. It's just my income, running the show over here. Um, I've thought about, you know, people ask me from time to time. My mom asks me from time to time if I plan on going and looking for somebody again, and it's just relationships have not been a good part of my life. I hate saying it, but it's just the truth. I've always struggled in that department. It's always been a struggle for me, and I guess it's just I think I've kind of resigned myself to just it just wasn't meant for me, And I think I have kind of gotten myself to that point where I just what's the point, I think part of the problem is I just never really felt like anybody really cared that much. I never really felt like I'm almost 50 years old, and I've never really felt like a woman really wanted to be with me, like specifically me. It's like they want to be with somebody, but they're pretty open to whoever. They don't really care. They're not really emotionally invested in a particular person, it seems like. And that's just not the way I think about things. You know, I still think about people that a girl I lost 30 years ago that and it still bothers me. And it's like I don't think girls are like that. I don't think at least it doesn't feel that way anyway. I've never really felt like they really cared that much. And I think that's always been part of the problem. Anyway, it is what it is. I don't really intend to get married again. I think it would be I think the odds are very low of that happening. Um I went on a date about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks to a month ago, something like that. It's the first date that I've been on in probably about 5 years. And it was okay. We went to dinner, nothing spectacular, met her, we talked a little bit, but I just feel like it's just not, it's just not. And another thing too is when you're trying to date and you're thinking about relationships, then there's going to be more economic pressure, and it's like I've got enough economic pressure as it is. So I don't really want to mess with it because of that as well. So it's just yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know. I'm pretty much over it. And just I don't even know why I decided to go on a date. It was like my heart's not really into it. It's just I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna stop whining. I'm not really whining. I'm just speaking my thoughts out loud. I keep looking around my house and I'm thinking about I do have things that I could sell to raise money if I wanted to. I have a decent coin collection, which I could probably get close to probably. I bet I could get over $1,000 out of my coin collection right now if I went out and sold what I've got. Maybe even 1,500. I've got to build some I got to build some savings up. I've been coasting on fumes for too long. It's just, if I hadn't messed up so bad with relationships, I'd be in a lot better position than I am. I think the relationship thing has really cost me a lot that way. Um, I have just been, I don't know. I'm turning 50 in August, and it just feels like my life. I am starting to feel like I'm getting into that final stage of my life. Um, my parents are both still alive. My dad just turned 75. My mom will be turning 70 in July. And I know in the next few years, I'll probably, my dad's gone having some health issues, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he'll make it to 80. I kind of wonder about that. Um, it's kind of hard to imagine losing a parent because I haven't had that experience yet. They've been such an integral part of my life. Um, they got married when they were young. My dad was 24 and she was 19 when they got married. Way back in 1975. And then little over a year later, or no, 11 months later, they had me. I was born 11 months after they got married. So they've always, whenever I think about my parents, I think about them in their early 40s. In the early 40s, that's kind of typically when I think about my parents, that's how I think about them, and they'll always, it's like they'll always be that age in my head for some reason, and I think that's why it's hard to imagine. My mom's in pretty good health. I think she'll be around for a while, but my dad, I kind of worry about, but I don't know. I don't let my mind wander too far down that road. Um, but it is something that's approaching, and we're starting to see signs of it, and it just makes you think about all of this. And I start thinking about my own mortality. It's like, I've had some health issues here and there. We're not promised tomorrow. I mean, I could live to be as old as my dad, or, I could have some sort of health event in my early mid 50s, and, that be it. That's why I have recently decided that I am going to go ahead in 2028. I am going to go and hike the Camino de Santiago. I've talked about that before. It's the big hike across northern Spain. I'm going to go and hike and do that hike in 2028. It's kind of it's a big bucket. It's my last really big bucket list item. Something that I really want to do. Something that I would regret not doing if I don't do it. So I want to go and do it before I get too much older. Um, so I'm going to do that in 2028. I have to have that conversation with my boss because I'll be out of the country for like 2 months. And that's going to be expensive, and I already know it. I mean, the biggest expense really is that I'll have to take some unpaid leave. I'll have to take some time off unpaid, and that's going to be difficult. That's probably 6 weeks unpaid leave. A month and a half of my income. So I'm gonna have to have that money to cover those bills, right? And then there's the flight. You gotta stay in lodging while you're there, and just all of that. It's an expense, but it's something that if I don't do it, I will regret it. I'll be laying there on my deathbed thinking about it, wishing that I had done it. So for that reason, I'm going to go and do it. I have some other bucket list items, but they're not as high a priority. I hope to go to Rome and see Rome and Florence one day in Italy. I'd like to go and do that someday. But those are more minor goals. So anyway, um, I hope you guys have a good evening. I hope you're all thinking about your goals, what you want to accomplish. Um, it's very important that we're all thinking about planning for our futures. Um, you know, if you've got kids, thinking about the kind of world that they're growing up in, and I keep been thinking a lot about what advice I can give them, and I've been kind of a screw up when it comes to relationships, so I can't really give them a whole lot of advice on that. But I work in finance, and I can talk to them about, when you get to be this age, you need to start saving as early as you can. You need to start putting money away. Um, my Piper, my youngest, she likes to spend. She likes to spend money on things, and it's like it's time that she's gonna have to start really thinking about what she does with her money. I worry about it because she's kind of a consumer, consume, 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 right? Got to start saving. Got to start saving. Anyway, this is American Night checking out. You guys have a good evening. I will be talking to you soon.